Three sisters with stories to tell. Books in our hands, we know them well. Flipping pages where dreams dwell. Chapter one, here you go. Turn the light, let the words flow. Laughs and love in every show. Books, sweethearts, we grow.
All right, welcome back to the finale episode of the Wren in the Holly Library. I still had to look at
she
it.
got it right.
You got it right. Look at you.
Glad
you shouldn't
I
have
didn't
said
notice.
anything.
Yeah.
No, you were so subtle. I was going to be so proud of you. I'm so proud.
Yeah, finale episode. Unfortunately, it's been a few days, so my shock factor has worn off, but I was pleasantly surprised with how this ended.
I was
Not-
underwhelmed with the ending.
Yeah,
Not to be
me
the negative
too.
one, but
No,
I was too.
It was not what I was
But-
looking for.
No.
But
The only reason I'm not upset about the underwhelm is because the next two books, they're still the main characters.
yeah. Like we know we're
Yeah.
going to pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
yeah, so
Wasn't
I'm
even like a-
excited to jump back into it.
Me too. I'll leave our endings for the endings.
I was going to ask before we jump into this, because this whole section really kind of doesn't matter towards it, but when Tora was alive, did you guys wonder like how she was going to like juggle between her and Graves?
Wait, what? Oh, when did you, like, you were thinking Kierce was going to be like, oh, I love Tora.
Well, isn't that weird? Like, your girlfriend died that you've been like mourning, and then you find her alive, and then nothing is talked about your like unresolved feelings.
So I think that they had broken up, and I don't think it was like she was like madly in love with her, but she felt guilty.
Yeah. Well, I think they like fought
Because
the
they
day
had a
of
fight.
or something.
And then she disappeared before they could resolve it. But they were already like in the process of
Yeah.
letting that go.
Because Kierce didn't want to move in with her. Like
So
she wouldn't take that next step. So I think that they were like done. She just felt really guilty about.
I get that, but I feel like a heat of a breakup and then they die, like you hang on to those feelings. Like you don't actually.
Maybe a normal person.
She is like a grade AAA compartmentalizer. Like
Yeah.
I still strive to be her. And I'm pretty good at it, but she's something else. So
Yeah, I was just like, I remember the next couple of chapters, I was constantly like, okay, are we going to talk about, like, are you having any weird feelings now? And like, that never
was
happened.
concerned that the author was going to use it as a way to like build tension or whatever.
Mhm.
So I really hope that doesn't happen. But
Well, we already reviewed that section.
About the ending of there's still
Yeah.
more of them. Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't
Um,
like the author doesn't seem like she likes to just like screw with us for the hell of it.
No, she hasn't at all.
which I appreciate
Just
because
different.
I have stopped a lot of really good books because I'm like, I just can't. Like, I already see it and I'm just over this. Like, I can't.
Not me. I mean, I keep reading. I'm like, no, Sid,
Yeah.
please.
No, same. I have to know.
I avoid all the traffic cones, even if that means doing a U-turn.
Well, okay, that was just something I had wanted to talk about, and I forgot about it till we wrapped last episode. And then as I was taking notes, I was like, oh, we never talked about that.
Yeah.
But I guess it only affected me that way. Like the whole time I was like, oh, this is going to everything up.
Thought about it. You just said that twice really early in the episode.
I'll bleep. I'll have to bleep it.
I thought about it, but then I was like, I'm not going to think about it too hard because it doesn't seem like she just seems relieved she's alive, and she seemed more guilty than anything to me.
Why? It's just weird. Like, why even make her the girlfriend then if there's not going to be any, like, just make her a friend.
Yeah. It shows that she's not good at relationships.
Yeah.
Because she was like absent, like not wanting to make that commitment, non-committal or whatever.
Yeah, clearly, because her death didn't even affect her.
She's like, boo, she's gone. Move along, keep stealing.
Yeah. Okay.
The rapid recap is longish because it's 2 sections, but try to keep it. I don't want to do a jingle today. I don't feel like it, but it's
Okay.
time for the rapid recap. Okay, do that. All right, so we started last episode. Kira's waking up at the library next to Graves, and she decided to make her move on him. Their joining has ruined her for all future encounters. After a chat about how powers are restored, they head out to their day at the Met to recharge Kingston's power. Kierce steals his pocket watch twice out of boredom as they make their way through, but she did at least learn about how Graves and Kingston met. At the museum, Lorcan sends Kierce Babka through a terrified messenger, sparking Graves' jealousy. Graves suggests using Lorcan's interest in her to gather intel. Testing at the Covenant reveals Kierce is neither human nor warlock. Her body absorbs magic. Her high white blood cell count reflects magical intake, not illness. Graves insists her condition must remain secret. Kierce learned absorption may explain her slow motion ability and post-power sickness. She likely needs to recharge. Graves reveals his own powers, sound distortion, psychic reading by touch, and admits he couldn't read her before due to, this says magical overload, but I think ChatGPT messed that up. But he couldn't read her before because she was absorbing his power. They begin training on wards, and they're theorizing she can absorb the ward magic to infiltrate King Louis's domain. Meanwhile, Edgar destroys Emmeline's research after discovering she shared supernatural samples with King Louis. Graves orders her brought to him alive with arms. Kierce and takes her into the tunnels beneath Times Square to test whether she can bypass the heavily warded entrance to the underworld. That's the first part of it. And now, Kierce infiltrates the third floor brothel. Wait, what? No, I skipped. Okay, underworld. Graves and Kierce locate the checkpoint at the third floor, which Kierce makes it through with no issue due to her Metro card obtained by Graves. She makes her way through the market, observing the monsters and their wares, and gains knowledge on the vampire who took Tora. She found and trailed him, shot him to get to information on Tora, who is still alive and working in Red Velvet. After killing him, she sets off to find Tora. Kierce infiltrates the third floor brothel and finds Tora alive but trapped. After killing Auric, the brothel goes into lockdown. Kierce escapes alone, promising to return and free her, possibly. ChatGPT put Lord Farquaad Solstice Party because that's what you put in there. King Louis Solstice Party. Graves comforts her, deepening their emotional bond with Graves. Days until the solstice, they test whether she can absorb enough magic to break wards, but she fails to sense or absorb Graves' power. Back undercover, Kierce discovers Walter trafficking humans for King Louis and tracks him to a hidden subway exit at 23rd and 5th, finally securing an escape route. When she surfaces, Lorcan confronts her over coffee. He warns that Graves is the true villain, heads at past betrayal involving Walter, and asks again for her number, positioning himself as ally or threat. And that's the rapid recap.
That, like, my eyes were like skitzing. Like, I was just like, and I got like, I take a deeper breath and I was like,
for how fast I read that, I didn't stammer over it very much. I'm
No.
pretty proud.
golf clap, golf clap.
Perfect.
I don't know what that is.
Wasn't that a golf clap? How do you do it?
It's basically a
well, there's
silent
thing with your
clap.
fingers. No, isn't there a finger clap? Hannah, back me up. Is this something?
I have no
I've
idea.
never seen that.
Looks.
Forgive me. Who knows? Okay, we ready to jump into the
let's
final
jump
section?
right in.
Okay, so we're starting chapter 47. Kier's getting a little more comfortable at the brownstone. Like feels more at home there, and she's coming back from her adventure with Lorcan, and she finds Graves shirtless and sweaty. She is not mad about it. And this is when she starts a little bit more to admit how much she wants him. And when she tells Graves that she ran into Lorcan, she gets to share that their plan to throw him off is. Yeah, I wasn't looking. You can just interject. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's fine. I was just gonna say because it's only like the fourth paragraph. So she puts in here very specifically, like now she can see his entire chest or whatever, that it is holly vines that start around his wrists and snake up his forearms, biceps, shoulders, and the edges of his chest. Was it a typo that she said ivy previously? Because those are not the same thing.
I don't think she said ivy. I think
No, she
you
did
said
have a
ivy.
whole debate.
We had a
Yeah, but I
whole
thought
combo.
it was because it was vines.
No,
Oh.
it said
that one of
ivy.
y'all. Oh, who knows? Who knows?
Because
have
I
to check.
was really let down that she skipped the opportunity to use Holly.
Well, we had a
And
whole
then
thing that
now
Holly's not a vine, that it's a bush.
Yeah.
And so that's like, I
correct.
was actually about to bring that conversation up because, no, after you said that, that was like immediately, I'm going to
Yeah.
bring this conversation up because we had a whole argument about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We'll have to watch that episode and figure out.
That was this
What?
But I do think she said Ivy or something. Maybe she just said
Yeah.
vines and we went with Ivy. I don't know.
No, she said Ivy.
Okay.
Because I was very, very disappointed.
Well, he's hollied up in his tats. Let's see. So they're planning to throw Lorcan off. She doesn't think he knows anything about the spear. She's kind of diverted him to think that they're going after Walter. And they're using his stalking to their advantage. They're getting very close to being intimate again. They kiss, and then they're interrupted by a cell phone buzzing, and it's not a cell phone that she is supposed to have. So
Dun,
Graves,
dun, dun.
dun dun dun. He's immediately pissed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Outside of the levels of acceptability under any circumstance.
Well, I mean, like, it's a betrayal, right? So, like, she's not supposed to have outside contact. It's for her safety. It's for her friend's safety. And here she is with the cell phone. And so he's like Mr. Teacher and answers it for her.
That is not why
Hand
he's
it over.
mad.
I know. He's jealous at this point, but he still feels betrayed.
Mhm.
But so he answers, and it's Nate on the other line. He's like panicking. He's got terrible news. And it's because Ethan was drugged. So thank God he could get a hold of her. But is that contact the reason why Ethan got drugged?
Mhm.
You know, that's, and so she talks to him. She's like, I gotta go. Very salty Graves, I say, tells Kierce that her wolf should be there soon. And she should go because he's so pissed that she hasn't been in contact with them and she broke their bargain. And then when Nate arrived, I just lost my spot. He dismisses Kierce and he's like, I know you're not going to come back. She knows that he doesn't mean that he wants her to go. And she's like, I'm going to talk to you about that. Like, we're going to have this out when I get back. But he's still very much like, yeah, you're not coming back, whatever.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have time to argue about this anymore. She's gotta go. She's gotta go save Ethan or see what's up.
Well, and the way he talks about it, it's like he doesn't want her to come back, is how I read it. Because he's like, our bargain is broken.
Remember when we were talking about how we think that people don't leave him? Like he gives them an opening and they take it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think this was it. He's like, well, you're not gonna want to come back. Like I know. Like now you're not stuck with me anymore. Like just go.
I don't even think
Like
it's
not that he doesn't want her to.
I think he's doing it as a defense mechanism after all the other times that other people did it. And now he really is like
Yeah.
more affected
Yeah.
by her. And so now he's like, no, this is my choice. And he's acting like a downright snot, honestly. Like I envisioned him literally stomping his feet.
Yeah.
Like I just want to be like, are we for real right now, sir?
Well, and like such a drastic switch because they were like
Yeah.
opening up to each other. Like she was feeling like all precious and protected. And he was like, I'm not exposed when I'm with you. And then it was just all of us. And it's,
not saying-
obviously an irrational response.
Yeah.
from
But
him.
like
he doesn't
definitely
have
tell her
very
she's an
many-
idiot. That's
Yeah.
fine.
He just,
But,
it seems like trust is like top tier requirement for him. And he doesn't give it often. And it seems very much like he thought they were there. And then so any betrayal to somebody's trust when you're like really, you give them that and it's not something you give away.
Yeah.
It stung a lot. The jealousy factor was like, I was like, seriously? I'm sure you've been watching her every time she's out. Like,
He put
You know
cameras up
there's
in his
nothing
house.
going on
Like
there.
he's watching her walk around the damn place.
but she knows how to evade them. But yeah, they left on a sour note, and he's not convinced she's coming back. I'll
Yeah.
be there. Okay.
Well, and I would say
Mhm.
he definitely like pushed her.
Yeah, he did. Like it was like
He
just
straight
go.
kicked her
Like, you're good.
out. He
Yeah.
was like, get
Yeah.
out.
Close the door in her face. It couldn't all be over. There was too much at stake for both of them for it to be over. That's chapter 47, though. Ready for 48?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So in Nate's car on the way to help Ethan, he kind of explains what happened. Ethan was tired of being locked up in his room, so he was down in the club learning to bargain with Kara. So of course Kier's is pissed about that. Like, you let him down into the club. And to add on to it, he's like, well, Jen has been like flitting about with Mara and learning to be a nurse, which she's really good at apparently. And she's not going to the hospital, she's just learning from her. Um, when they get there, they find that Kara, Elijah, and Haley, all Nate's wolves, are not doing well. They're reacting worse than they normally do to drugs. Um, and they're actually reacting worse than Ethan is, being what we know right now as just a human. And Ethan hasn't progressed further, but he's not getting better. And the worst part here is that these wolves in this room are shifting involuntarily. So that's bizarre and it's pretty much unheard of from what we can tell. And so Mara goes on to say, like, this is what I've done. I gave everybody activated charcoal. The wolves can't get any more, but I could probably give Ethan more. And she really wants to try to get them to a hospital, and because they don't have the equipment that they need there. Just tries to bring up the covenant because it is a supernatural hospital, but there's no way they can get them there in time.
That was me.
Oh. Corey's there. He explains that Ethan was like his reaction to the drug. I think Kier's was kind of asking what happened. And he was like acting really wild and then uninhibited. He thought he was just being a good time, but it very quickly took a turn and became out of hand. Uh, and in her mind, Kiersta's like, I should ask Graves for help, but then she dismisses it herself, knowing he doesn't really have healing powers. So I don't know why she was thinking that was like her singular path that she could ask Graves for help in. But I was like, come on, girl, use those brain cells. But when she does start thinking about that, she considers Imani's magic and how she reacted. And now she's really worried that it's not a drug, but it's magic. And with some probing, she does get to the conclusion that wish powder is around. So these shipments, it could have even been Graves' fault because didn't he take a shipment with him?
Mm-hmm.
Like that it's around. So um, now she's like, oh my God, I know what's going on. It doesn't matter if we get them to a hospital or not. The doctors will not be able to help them. I am the only person in the vicinity that could do anything for them, and I don't know how to use my magic.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh,
Well,
I'm screwed.
on the Imani note, because we know that with distance from the creator, it gets
I was
worse.
thinking about that too.
So, and then the other side of that is she's really pissed off right now at Graves.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
by association, I would assume she's also not particularly happy with Kier's just because she's his pet now.
I'm
So it's like,
I'm wondering
which
what
is it?
Kingston has told them about, like if he's kept them updated, like Imani in Montreal or whatever, about Kier's, and that it's not just like she wasn't just like a buddy.
Well, I'm thinking hopefully not, because remember they were running wish powder in London where he's at and didn't tell him,
Yeah.
and he was super pissed about that.
Yeah.
So
we have
I
an
feel like,
unstable drug already, which is why it was so much
is
worse.
it unstable, or is Amani total like asshole?
I mean, probably
And
both.
yeah, like definitely did it on purpose. But I am curious.
Somebody
as
did it
to-
on purpose.
Yeah, somebody did it on purpose.
Yeah, it's weird though because they talked about it and then it was never brought up again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering maybe if the next book will be more of a shift from Graves' perspective. I haven't looked into it at all, but that might be interesting and maybe we'll fill some of these gaps.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Was there anything else from that chapter that I need to touch on?
No, I don't think so. It's pretty
Okay.
short.
Okay, so chapter 49, here's, forces her way up into the space where Ethan is and decides to just go for it. She puts her hands on his chest to try to see what's going on. And she's thinking about, like, I failed in practice, but maybe since this is a life or death situation, I can do this. So she finally notices a brush against her awareness and can feel the magic suffuse with Ethan's body. And she immediately can tell that it's Amani's. This is the first time she smells the magic. And Amani's smell is nauseating to her pretty much. It smells like lilies. And with her reaction she had to the wish powder, super nervous about drawing this into her. She doesn't know what's going to happen and she doesn't have an antidote. And when she thought that, why didn't she think like, man, I could have called Graves. He has an antidote. When I was reading this, I was like, girl, but she is in distress. So, she could have had her boyfriend
Yeah.
Nate do it.
Well, and like when she was explaining that in the last episode, she's like, we didn't have time to go get him. I'm like,
Mhm.
you have a cell phone.
Call
Stupid.
him. Yeah. Like 3 cell phones. I'm just kidding. She only has one.
But
she has-
yeah.
yeah.
It's like, why is that? Oh, I have to physically go get him.
Yeah, like the
No.
second she even thought magic was in the equation, that should have been the first call.
All right.
Like he has
no matter
hundreds
what.
of years of experience.
Yeah.
He might not be a healer or an absorber, but like he might know something.
Probably does. Thanks for that. Hey, there you got me.
I'm sorry.
Dang
It's
it, I
okay.
have been specifically avoiding even looking.
I
I hate you
know.
both.
You heard
Yeah.
mine. But yeah, so I don't know. We don't know why she didn't just call him, but
One thing I really liked, she when she talks about the awareness,
Mhm.
she describes it as a yearning breeze that said winter was over and spring was coming.
because she's spring. She brings on the spring. But yeah, so I guess Jen could tell that she's nervous and came up behind her and held on to her. And through that touch, man, when I was reading this, I was like, damn, we're good. Through that touch,
Yeah.
she could feel Jen's magic. And I even put in parentheses, which we did predict.
Mhm.
Her essence and her belief in Kier's. And it gave her that kernel she needed to push forward. And as her magic is working, she also notices the feeling of magic in Ethan. So all the friends, the trio, threes are
Mhm.
important. All of that comes back. Go us, we're amazing. Um,
Mhm.
she starts to feel the absorption of the wish powder magic. While nobody else can see what's going on, she looks like she's just like standing there. And when she starts thinking about how much she's absorbing, she's starting to feel sick and was able to get the last bit out of Ethan before she really started to feel sick. But while she's still in that, I don't know, like that plane, right?
Mhm.
She tries to touch Kara, but she's in her werewolf form, scratched the shit out of her, and that pain made her drop that concentration. She didn't have enough to help after that, and she passed out from absorbing too much power. So, not the best case scenario there for the ending.
And she
Yeah.
did have the thought about like when all the magic really started to like flow through her, she was like, oh my God, I should have told them to call Graves and whatever. And she's like, but I physically can't even pull my hands off
No.
right now. There's so much
Yeah.
magic going through her. I thought she was going to die there for a second. I was like, damn, like there's a lot going on right now.
Mhm.
And Graves is not even like okay with her existence right now for whatever.
Yeah, he's like
But-
off doing nonsense, I'm sure.
Well, I think it's kind of pouty, right? Like, he's just like, well, she's not coming back. So I'm
I'm
not
gonna
going to
go.
worry about her.
Drink all my whiskey.
He's a bitter bitch.
Because she
Oh,
had a
shit.
cell phone.
She's talking to her wolf boyfriend. I thought that was important to her. Sorry. We like Graves. I forgot that I have another chapter. Okay. So chapter 50. Kier's woke up at 5 points and does not quite remember what happened initially. And then Jen and Ethan are there with her. They mention her drawing the magic out of Ethan. So she said, it comes back. And she feels exactly like she did when she ingested all that wish powder. Very sadly, none of the wolves made it. And of course, Kier's is feeling incredibly guilty about it. She seems like she carries a lot of guilt, puts that on herself. But Jen and Ethan are both like, you did more than anybody could have ever asked you to do. Like, Ethan would have died without her. So they're very grateful for her. And then we get to have their chat about magic. So they first talk about Jen's magic and then Ethan's magic. Everybody's surprised that everybody has magic when nobody even knew it existed. And Jen's is the reason she can read tarot. And Ethan's is the reason he can grow plants in the winter. They can feel the thread knotted between them, which was previously mentioned. And get to the bad news, which is Kier's was out for 3 days.
And there were only 4 when she
There
left.
were only 4. I was like trying to remember. It's like, was it only 3 days that they had? Yeah. So it is the day before the solstice. I like really thought Graves would be like freaking out. It's like his plans are all ruined too. But yeah, this is where we are. This is where we are. They want her to stay there, but the wolves are about to go on lockdown for the full moon, so she would not be able to get out. And she says, no, I gotta go. I found Tora. She's alive and I have to go back and get her. But also, I really want to go back to Graves. And, Jen calls her under shit. So she says, you actually like him, don't you? This is where we get the little, he's a monster, but he's my monster.
Yeah.
And she's heading
But
out.
also, he hasn't
Yeah.
been a monster, so why are we calling him a monster?
Well, he is a monster.
She hasn't
Anybody that's
witnessed
not
any of
human is
this.
apparently a monster.
Yeah, that's like the world. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like they say it in a way just like everybody else, though, too.
Like that's how they refer to anybody with magic, but they didn't know there was magic, so they just call everybody monsters. But it's like I would say it's interchangeable for like supernatural beings.
Yeah, but the way he said, I thought he was a monster, so did I. Like, that's more about his character than his physical
Maybe.
being.
Well,
she's never seen it except for like he scared her once.
They're not quite bigoted, but they're definitely biased because, I mean, when the monster war broke out, I mean, they decimated the world. People were hiding in bunkers for years and they're still being tormented by these monsters and whatnot. Like, they can't walk about however they want and all of that. So, I mean, I get it.
From an outside
but-
view, he is one of them.
Yeah.
I think they're just kind of grouped together. Jen handed her the magician tarot card before she left, but she's like, "Oh, it's Graves." And when she's going, she's like pissed, like all my people can get to my friends. I have to do something about this, and so yeah, now she can do words just fine. But she only worded it to keep wish powder out.
Yeah,
It was weird too.
Like she could have warded their room too or something, right? Like it was a little bit of a miss there, dear. But that's wraps up 50.
Okay. So the interlude. Stop doing that.
I'm sorry.
what happened?
I yawned really big. I can't control it.
Sickles?
Oh, shoot.
Okay. Thank you. See, yeah. You know what? Can we all just do that from now on? Like,
You're gonna know that we're yawning though, and it's still gonna get you.
it's fine. The psychological component is actually seeing and hearing. So thank
I'm
you.
really fighting mine. All right.
Okay. So the interlude is from Isolde, which I was not anticipating, but she is reminiscing.
We're sleepy girls.
Sorry.
It's a Monday.
Down.
Ooh, help me.
Start
Okay.
over.
Interlude is Isolde. Everybody good? No more yawning? Okay.
Just
And she comes back after Kierce leaves, and she is kind of just reminiscing about how she met Graves. And she used to be I can't stand you. She used to be a baker somewhere. Such jerks. And, they got to know each other, and it was never romantic because she could already tell, like, Graves could never love anyone. And she describes him as a man of 1,000 broken pieces. And when you're that broken, you can never be put back together. It was kind of harsh.
honestly, this interlude is like when I remembered it was a Beauty and the Beast
Yeah.
thing, because I never caught that in any of this book unless you guys would bring it up. But this part, I was like, okay, Mrs. Tots.
Mhm.
Okay, Mrs. Tots. It's cute.
And yeah, she's super surprised because she actually never expected Kierce to walk away. And like she had watched them both start to kind of open up and dig it.
I told you I'd do it still.
I did it. I just breathed it in.
Oh my gosh. And so she walks into the kitchen and she sees Graves, and he's basically just defunct at life. He's drunk and he is silently commiserating. And she's like, "So she left for good?" Like, and he's like, "Yep." And she asks him what he will do. And he says, "What I always do, start over again." And when he responds that way, she's like, "Well, maybe I was wrong to some extent, and he really can love someone." So that was kind of basically it
Yeah, she
on
notes
that
that.
one.
I like that she is paying attention that he has been different, that
Mm-hmm.
Kierst doesn't put up with his morose behavior. She jokes with him. They have similar interests, and she's, I don't know, like that's the help or whatever.
Yeah.
They notice that kind of thing.
For sure. Because she's,
Yeah.
said, I thought she was different.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he says, which we've already deduced, but she made her decision. They always do one after the other. After the other, they choose whatever they find important over him, over learning magic, over this life.
He does. So, and I don't remember if it ever touches on it, but like he doesn't do a good job, and I don't know what happened to him, saying like people can have competing priorities and still love multiple
Mm-hmm.
people, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be the only person. You're not gonna be the only person in life.
Mm-hmm.
If you want me to be in your life, and it sounds like that might be like historically one of his problems. It's like if you want something else, then you don't want me.
Yeah.
But it's not a very adult way of thinking, sir, Mr. Graves. Mr. Graves.
Nobody ever accused him of being an adult. They only accused him of being old.
True. True.
Yeah.
But his olds might be a teenager still. Who knows? Or 30s.
It is a man. Okay. Anything else before we start?
No.
Part 6, the winter solstice.
What's this thing?
I don't know.
A trident.
Trident.
But except it's stuck together, so it wouldn't be very good at the stabby.
Now it looks
Yeah,
like maybe like a filigree.
You fancy words.
Yeah,
Filigree.
like a horseshoe with a middle.
It's a pokey thing. It's a pokey thing.
A speared horseshoe. All right. Chapter
I
51?
support you guys. In theory.
I forget what
Um,
chapter I start. Oh,
fif-
still you. Perfect.
Yeah.
She literally only did the interlude, Hannah.
Okay, I forgot.
Like, and it was like 3 bullet points. She's like, okay, are you done?
I forgot.
Where are we? I don't know. Continue.
Okay. 51. So Kierst has to walk the 50 blocks in the cold back to Graves. She's too weak to kind of fight anybody off right now, so taking the risky bus or subway is not really in her favor. I hate you. Every time I look at you guys,
Well, stop looking.
We're so boring.
you're on my screen. And she didn't have any money with her, whatever, because she ran out of Graves. So, like, she can't take a cab. So it's like snowing. And she makes a point of when she gets there, she uses the knocker, and she makes a point of realizing, like, she feels more the stranger now than when she first came and used the knocker to agree to the heist, which
Yeah, and on
kinda
her
saying
way, she was
something.
stealing the whole time to rejuvenate
Yeah.
her powers.
Yes.
I don't
That's
know.
important.
Why that was my pickpocket.
Very stealthy.
It was very raccoonish, which I feel like they would be great pickpocketers.
Yeah.
So she's knocking, and it takes a while for anybody to come to the door. Like, she starts to second guess, like, is anybody here or are they ignoring me? But Graves finally comes to the door, and she can tell he's like absolutely shocked that she's there. And he is either still or again very sauced.
Well, he
He's
comes to the
disheveled.
door with bottle in hand.
Yes.
Yeah. And he seems very put together all the time.
Yeah.
And he's very much not.
And the long and short of it is she tells him I came to apologize, essentially. And he's also kind of surprised by that. Neither of them are big apologizers. And she's like, why the hell is it so cold? Because apparently it was like super frosty in there. He's like, I'm all alone. Yeah.
It's cold like
There's
my
no
heart.
one here beside me.
Thank you, because
My
I was
troubles
playing
have
that
all
in my head.
gone.
But you gotta have friends. Okay. So she's like, can we like talk? And so they go into the study. He gets the fireplace going and it gets real warm, guys.
We do that at the same time. I wasn't even looking at you.
We're in sync.
We are.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, so it gets warm real fast and they sit down like opposite each other, which I found like I get, right? They're mad at each other or to some extent upset with each
It's
other.
easier to have
and
a conversation that way, Ashley. You stay across from somebody, you can have a conversation easier.
Two people can sit on a couch and turn toward each other and have just as easy a conversation. Just saying. But you do you, boo. Anyways. And so as soon as they sit down, Kier's her whole mindset is like, I have to be the one to kind of break the I'm not going to open up. I'm gonna like keep my walls up. And she's determined to give him more of her than she has previously. And she starts by trying to explain that her default is to always have an exit strategy, which PSA, you should always have an exit strategy no matter what you're doing. So I don't disagree with her on that. But it really started based on her father's abandonment when she was a kid. And then of course it was only reinforced by Jason's behavior of her to the point where it's literally just a base instinct now. And so she tries to explain that when he set the rules, he literally put her in a cage. And so, of course, like, how could he not expect her to have some way of getting out of it if she needed to? Which she's not wrong. Like,
Right.
because she knew she was the weakling in this deal. Like, she was the one that had everything
the
to
power.
lose.
Mm-hmm.
And then she admits that it started as a job, one that she accepted death as a result of, but never expected him to become more, which kudos considering he is still very clearly like confused that she even came back. So that had to be really awkward to then admit all that. And she even notices how oblivious he is to like how her feelings had progressed in any aspect. And I think she even like one of them was like, I think it was Graves. He was like, I don't, you what? And she was like, you really don't, you really had no idea, did you? I think that's how it went.
You're talking about like
Um,
she was prepared to die on the mission and everything, but then things changed and he's like, how'd they change?
yeah,
She said, you don't know. What are you
Yeah.
talking
yeah.
about?
It was just like very, very oblivious. And so then she explains that it's not about the money. She's doing it for her friends, to help Tora, to keep the spear from Lord Farquaad, and she's also doing it for him. And his response is like, I thought you were gone. Like it's very like
He seems
Yeah.
bewildered, kind of like in
yeah.
shock that she's there.
He still can't really like put two full sentences together yet.
Literally nobody's ever come back.
Yeah. And he does admit that he did overreact to some extent, but she was gone for 3 days. And so he had just accepted it like, that's a really long time for you not to come back, basically. And so Kierst gives him all the details of what went down and that she was passed out for 3 days she woke up and then she went straight to him. And she does.
Sorry. Whenever he asks, "This wasn't your exit," that makes me think like his reaction a lot is that he thought this was set up to be her exit strategy, like from him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that makes his reaction make a lot more sense.
Yeah. I
Like,
agree. I just read that too.
You're good. So she does officially confirm that the stealing is rejuvenating her power. Because she's almost like fully topped off. Whereas when she started, she was like barely able to walk straight. And she tells him about how she warded 5 points against the powder. And it was really easy. Like it all switched on after she had the option. What? But to save Ethan with her power. What? Why?
when she's trying to take the blame for their deaths, he says they're my fault, and she brushes it off. There we go. It's his fault.
Oh,
Sorry, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. So at the very end, because of course they actually talk about it was a longer chapter for them just trying to get through their apologies, but she tells them that she's basically with or without him, she's going in and to steal the spear. But they're better together. And he agrees that they are better together and tries to make a new bargain. And she's like, no, we don't need one. And he was like, okie dokie. And then that was it.
Yeah, nothing to add.
Yeah, she gave a lot. He gave very little in this paragraph.
Yeah.
Chapter, whatever. I don't know what I'm saying. But like he did not give a lot at all.
But that is totally flipped on its script in the next chapter.
Yeah, and like I think it's fair because like she just came from like a near death experience.
Yeah. She had lots of explaining to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 52, she tells Graves that he should have known she wasn't leaving for good. And she literally shouted at him that they weren't finished with the conversation. And so then Graves tries to go into more detail about his history, which here are the highlights. So he killed his mother at birth. And because that is always
by being born.
literally, it's always the case
He wasn't
with
just
warlocks.
like,
yeah. Which is why he suspected from the beginning that she was a warlock because her mother also died in childbirth, at least
And
as
that
far as we know.
is like a known thing.
Yeah.
Like the moms die when they give birth to a warlock.
Every time, no way around it. So sorry. And his mother was Irish and left her people to be with his deadbeat of a dad, which is just awful.
the theme of this book. Deadbeat
For
dads.
real.
Join the Deadbeat Dads Club.
Yeah. Like the dad blamed him for her death. And he makes a comment and he's like, yeah, he even blamed me for King Henry VII's death because he died on the same day I was born. It was like this dad is he's real bitter. And when he was 6, the dad sold him to some creepo. And it took a while, but he finally escaped and went to Ireland to his mother's people, which is where he eventually met Kingston. And that is like they accepted him, but not forever. Like he doesn't go into too much detail, but he does say that that's where he learned that nothing and no one is permanent, which is why he assumed, that she was another temporary thing.
Yeah.
And he was clearly and admittedly wrong. To which he takes this opportunity to kiss her, and she can finally feel and smell his magic. I just want to say, every time I have to say the word smell his magic, it is really weird. Like, I don't know.
She's sniffing for it.
Yeah.
It's permeating the air.
Yeah. Which she does say, like, yes, I get why everyone said, you smell like parchment and books or something, but there's something even deeper to it.
She said, It's your magic does smell like leather, and you said parchment, but I smell books like your library.
There we go. Thank you.
Fucking Tommy.
Which, when I was taking notes, I realized how much more important what I'm about to say becomes later. But he tells her he can smell hers too, and that she smells of spring, and describes a lake in Ireland surrounded with yellow, blue, and purple wildflowers, which I initially thought only back to when Lorcan gave those wildflowers to him, but it's even more important later.
Yeah, it's got deeper ties.
Yeah. So, because he has shared all of these nitty-gritty traumatizing details, she decides that, she hasn't given him enough compared to what he has given her. So she decides to tell him the full Jason story. And she does admit that I give her about 93% chance actually killed him, but she didn't
I
actually
know.
stick
I
around.
still feel like he's gonna come back and bite
I
us
do
in the ass
too.
someday.
She was like, I'm not sure. I think is exactly what she said. And I was
Like a
like,
vampire found him and turned him or some shit.
something. I mean, evil never really dies the first time you kill them, so I'm just saying. And then he realizes that he really was seeing her memories and reading her. It wasn't a delusion the one time after the wish powder.
That was a weird interaction, like the hallucination.
Yeah.
He's like,
I still
you were
like,
hallucinating. And she's like, yeah, I was hallucinating.
yeah, that
They
was
moved
really
on very
weird.
quickly. Yeah.
And she admits that Jason's torment is the reason she's never been able to want anything other than casual sex from anyone until him.
Hence how she reacted to Tora.
And she does specify that, like, that was one of the reasons why her and Tora never could work out, because she could never actually commit. And then he realizes that that's why she couldn't fathom that he would think she would leave. And she agrees, and then she takes his hand, she's like, let's do it, essentially. Not many more words than that. And he kisses her and says, come with me, not if you want to live, but, and then he pulls her out
His
into the hallway.
blessedly bare hands.
Yeah.
Girl has a hand fetish.
She definitely does. And that is where we end that lovely chapter. Any others?
I don't think so.
I was really concerned that I wasn't detailed enough with all of the detail that she gave in that chapter. But then I was reading it back and I'm like, God, is it ever going to end?
There is a lot. There's a lot in this chapter.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Okay. Chapter 53. So he takes her up to his room and admits, like, he has literally never in all of his decades, centuries, ever brought anybody into his bedroom, his bedchamber. He's got 50 rooms. He can screw people wherever he wants.
Oh my God. Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And then as she's looking around, she's like, yeah, actually I can tell, because everything is super personal in there. And I won't load you with all the details of what all she finds in there, because the only thing that I feel like really might hold any weight is there is a painted portrait of two, I can't remember if it's boys or men, like with their backs to the artist, looking over a lake with all the wildflowers. She's like, one of them could be graves. I wouldn't be able to tell one way or the other, but it's clearly going to be him and Lorcan. They never clarified that, but
there's some
definitely.
significance to Anne Boleyn here, too, because he has a picture of Anne Boleyn in his room.
Yeah.
Like, the cat cannot be just a cat. If the cat is just a cat, I'm going to fucking flip out. And they did this series.
I have a feeling like they had an affair at some point, And like he's the reason she got her head chopped off.
Oh my God.
How wild would that be?
Crazy pants. I don't think we're going to get that deep though. I
Yeah.
just want to know about the fucking cat.
I know.
Sorry.
Okay. So she pulls him to the bed and he's like, "Oh, we could take our time. We don't have to do that." And she's like, "No, we're absolutely doing this. Like, get up here." And he tells her he wants to take his time on her while she's fully naked. And when he plants the seed, yeah, she's like, "No, wait a second. All these tattoos, like, now I want to be the assertive one here." And they do not
This is
super
weird.
dirty deeds, but
There's
they
weird
do
stuff in
things.
it. She wants to lick his tattoo.
Wait, that's not weird.
Your tattoo is so vivid. Can I lick every inch of it? Not weird?
I mean, saying it's weird, doing it's not. Okay. So post deed, he's like, "Wait here." And I thought he was gonna come back with the obligatory, like, warm, wet towel.
God, no, nobody does that in books. Come on. Why is it warm and wet? Okay, never mind. I don't want to know the answer to that question.
He actually has, like, of course, a badass ensuite jacuzzi. And they go in there and they're just kind of hanging out. And she's like, "So I have a question." And he's like, "Okay." And she asks him, "So when did King Henry VII die?" He says, 1509. So he's definitely 500 and some change. It is officially confirmed. But anything that was pretty much where it ended.
Yeah, that was like a 1-2, skip the sex scene, a few more things.
Yeah.
Big done.
Yeah.
Yep. All good.
I actively tried not to make it awkward for Hannah over there.
And then I had to bring up the licking. Sorry about that.
I am surprised that you think it's weird to lick tattoos.
I just picture her being chasing the viral.
I mean, she's not doing like the dog lick. I mean, she might, but I hope not.
I don't think I have a sexual lick. I'm not gonna try. So that's what just happened. But I picture her like chasing it like a maze. All the vibes. That's why it was
Good.
weird in my head. So I had to show you guys. So you could be weird in your heads too.
That's what dessert condiments are for.
All right. Chapter 54.
Please interrupt her Oompa Loompa song.
Chapter
already
54.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Very brief note, so please fill in. Kyrus is with Tora. They are about to walk into the winter solstice, so the day has finally arrived. Tora tells Kyrus, "Stop fidgeting. She's not blending in very well. She already sticks out like a sore thumb. She's tan. She doesn't have any bite marks on her, etc., etc."
That look more drugged by
yeah.
Goonies.
Yeah.
Glaze your eyes
You're
over.
supposed to look like a vampire prostitute.
You are a
Yeah.
slave. Yeah. So all the girls are in like these cloaks covering themselves. Underneath is just lingerie. They're basically just like free for all sex dolls at this party.
Sex doll blood bags.
She gets a question going in, and they kind of scramble through it. They'll just tell her that she's new, going back to, again, she doesn't have any bike marks on her. We learn that obviously Graves had her lingerie altered to be fitted with all of her knives and such. There's monsters all in the room. They all have this gold pin on their jackets, which is the Men of Valor emblem. There's mare people, trolls, goblins, nymphs, wraiths. She said basically every monster except for the werewolves, which we know they're not allowed because they were part of the good side.
And
They're
it's a full
human
moon.
sympathizers.
Yeah.
And it's a full moon. So even if there were any werewolves that weren't
Yeah.
like in that pack, they would not be there.
Exactly.
And Amber Dash's creepy ass was there.
Yes, we learned that she recognizes Gregory Amberdash. So she has a little bit of like he clearly set me up. Like he's Again, they're on the resistance side. She's surprised about this. I mean, ultimately, we don't know anything about this guy.
Mm-mm.
She goes the other way to avoid him. She clearly doesn't want to be recognized, and she runs into a vampire who is just kind of baiting her a little bit, like, "Oh, you're a very pretty girl," blah blah blah. And she barely gets away from that one. And then she's wondering where Graves is. He's supposed to be there already. She also is looking for Tora, doesn't see her, so she's hoping that she's already made her escape. Um, and then she gets taken by another vampire from the shadows. And again, just this banter of like, "Oh, you're pretty, you're mine now." And she's trying to be like, "Oh, I'm already claimed." And he's like, "Ah, tough shit. He's not here, so you're mine." It's gonna take her. Oh, he slaps her to keep her in her place because Kirsten's said something to antagonize him. And she clearly has to swallow back her anger there because it's a bit of PTSD. Also, just in general, she's not gonna stand for something like that. So she has to kind of hold herself back. And then he mentions a private room, and she's like, "Oh, okay, good. We can go into a private room, and then I'll kill his ass."
Yeah, take me there.
So she goes with him, and that is when Grave intercepts, and his dominance is on full display. And he calls this guy by his name. I didn't even write it down because it's not important.
William Bellick,
Yeah.
Wilson.
And
something like that.
he's
Yeah.
like, "I'm here to claim my property," essentially. And um, yeah, takes her away, teases her about her outfit a bit, like, "You should wear that for me later." Like, yeah, maybe not the best time. And then King Louis comes out to make his big speech, and that's where the chapter ends.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't actually leave while he's coming out to do his speech because all the exits like locked down.
So, chapter 55 is pretty much just about King Louis' speech and the typical beat my chest, we're better, we're monsters, we shouldn't be the ones in hiding. Why punish those of us that are stronger? Blah blah blah. So he's in like this costume with a white wig, it's all themed. Walter is up there with him using his force field to protect both of them, which Graves did not know he could do. Um, so Kierce is just like, "Yeah, another thing you underestimated
Yeah.
him
Good job,
on."
Val.
Yeah. So then they decide to go get the spear, and at the same time, Dr. Mafi shows up with a gun pointed at Graves' back.
This bitch.
Yeah, also bold, but
Yeah.
okay.
I get why she did it after, but I was like, where'd she come from?
Yeah,
Why?
exactly.
Excuse me, Edgar.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing
Failed
your
at
job
his job.
poorly.
Yeah.
No,
Edgar. Yes.
his job was not to kill her.
It was
It was
to
supposed to,
kidnap her.
yeah, he was supposed to get her, but she must
How
have
was
been
he
here
supposed to get
already.
into the third
That was
floor?
clearly days ago.
Exactly. He wasn't quick enough, madam.
So
Don't blame poor Edgar.
Dr. Mafi is, claiming that Graves is there to kill her because Edgar was sicked on her. And he's like, "No, that is not what we're doing." Kierce ends up intervening and convincing her that that's not why they're here. They're here for something else.
Get over
She's,
yourself.
yeah, it's just basically like, "Who are you? Not important to me." So she takes them to this room she has, and she uses magic to open the door, which Kierce is interested in because she knew she was like obviously a doctor, witch, herbs, but didn't actually see her use magic. So Emmeline questions why they are there, and Graves counters with a question, as always, about asking about her deal with King Louis, who Kierce is learning about all of this. She didn't know,
Pissed.
yeah,
Yeah.
any of what had happened. Um, so he was blackmailing her for the candidates with different blood so he could win the war. Graves sends her home to his home to find Edgar. That he has everything you need, a new identity, and you can escape.
So I think it might be important to know, so like this will come back later, so that King Louis, looking for blood, is looking for blood with magical components because he thinks it'll make him stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they're looking for her. And she's like, does it make him stronger? No, blood's blood. He's an idiot.
So, she lets Graves read her, which we've known her to always be very fearful about, to make sure that he knows the layout of the space. And he's like, "Oh, I have the blueprints." And she's like, "Well, just in case." And she makes a point to be like, "This is for Kierce, so she's not collateral damage, not because I'm doing you a favor." So 1 point finally
like
on the
her
positive
spunk.
side for Emmeline. um, so he does end up finding something new in the blueprints. It doesn't seem to be important, but whatever. Um, and then she's like, "Okay, be quick." Like he intends for this to be a slaughter tonight. And that's how that chapter ended.
I feel like he was intentionally vague. Looks like
About
some
the
of our
blueprint?
information was out of date, but our pathway's still clear. When he didn't say what was different, I feel like he was
Mhm.
intentionally vague based on what goes down.
Hmm.
Like he knew that something was not going to go right from this point. He saw it, but they're already in there, and so he didn't want to tell. Because
That's
it
a
seems
nice
like
theory.
yeah, because he did not tell Kier's, at least not here.
No, he
I'm
doesn't
thinking
tell
it's
her.
gonna come into play maybe in the next book.
Maybe.
Or
Hmm.
joke's on all of us. It doesn't actually matter at all.
Yeah, I was gonna when we wrap up the book, just the style of writing. I don't know if it's because it's a shorter book or maybe this is like her first book to write, but there's a lot of non-important information where she could have spent time on other things. Anyways.
Yeah, I think that's that line, right, when you have smaller books,
Mm-hmm.
how much do you just jump into and how much time do you spend on world building?
Yeah.
Because it could take an entire small book.
Right.
They just have to make a choice.
But there are a lot of random things that it's that wasn't really
Wasn't it
wasn't
important?
anything.
Oh, yeah.
So anywho, oh yeah, chapter 56. Okay. So they go find the room and there are two guards out there and they decide they're gonna pretend that she's his pet again and that they're drunk and wandering around the castle or whatever this place is. Um and the guards obviously see them and are like, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here. Go find somewhere else for your pet." And that's when they attack and they have a little brawl or whatever. They obviously win. And then they start breaking into the room. So Kierce is working on the lock. She learns that it's a warded combination lock, which obviously she is unfamiliar with. But she has the instinct that she knows she has to break these in a certain order or, one wrong move, that's it. And she's trying to get into Walter's head to figure it out. She notices that some of the wards are darker than others and that there's a code system, and she's deducing that he invented this himself because it is very tech engineered. And she sees that there are Roman numerals inside of the wards, like a clock, and that some of those numbers are darker than the others. And so she spits those numbers off to Grace and asks, "What could it be?" And without even talking to her, he just punches a number in and it unlocked, thankfully. And she's like, "What the heck?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, it's pi. That was his favorite number."
Lame.
What a
Just kidding.
loser. What a loser.
I used
So
to
they
know a lot of digits of pi. A lot of them.
Of course you
I've
would.
I've
never
lost it.
learned more than 3.14.
I know.
I said, "Oh, I'm in the age of a calculator. I will never need to know that."
We're gonna round it anyways.
Yep. So they step into the room. Pierce goes into the trophy room, and then immediately the doors are slammed shut. The lights go out. Their hands grab her, and she's knocked out.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm trying to think.
And Graves was on the other side, so he does say like "ah" or something.
Yeah, he's like, get
I-
out of there.
He
and then it's
intentionally
over.
didn't go inside, but it was because of the wards, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, wait. There was a second room inside the room, so they both went into the main room, and then she went into the trophy room.
Yeah.
But maybe to your point that that's what he saw in the blueprint, maybe he didn't see her go in there originally, and then he turned, saw, and he was like, fuck.
I don't know. I think he intentionally.
I don't know. I hope we learn more about that
Yeah.
because now you got me on that theory. But I just like, he's like so in love. He just took her to his bedroom and has never taken a girl there for 550 years.
How could she not see somebody
Yeah.
else in there? Like she gets knocked out, a heavy object came down on her temple, she collapsed. Wasn't it a small room?
Maybe it's just a door frame. So she walked in and they were like hiding on the edges.
He could have smelled their magic.
But that was all of my section.
So I was listening when I went through this part, and I had to go back and listen like 5 times. So I was like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
Wait, what just happened?
And that's one of the chapters like she could have spent more than a paragraph on.
Yeah.
Because I
I
also was
definitely
like,
agree.
wait, what?
I can't picture it. Like when when you can't picture what's going on, like there's not enough descriptors to
Mm-hmm.
like get a good layout. So I think that's why I was so confused. And the next part's really confusing to me too.
So I was confused as well. Like I was saying, like I had to just deduce that it was like a room inside of a room. And I was like, what the heck? Where is he at? Like you said, is he on the other side of the ward? Is he inside the room?
Yeah.
And then
No,
like,
honest
and
to God,
why?
until you guys said it was a room inside of a room, I thought she walked in, and then
I
before
could
he
have
could walk
totally
in,
made that up because I also was
Um,
confused in this chapter.
It sounds right.
But the point was for her to break the ward so he could come in.
right?
And then she says the trophy room. I don't know.
I don't either.
Again, she could have spent a little bit more time on that whole thing.
Okay. So Kirst was knocked out before. When she comes to, she can tell immediately that all of her weapons are gone and Graves is not around. What?
Sorry. My mouse is in the middle of Ashley's forehead and
What?
my mouse is on the middle of Ashley's forehead and I thought she had the big black bug on her face.
Reflection.
No, my mouse is on her
Your mouth.
forehead.
I thought you were saying
I thought you said
mouth.
your mouth, and I
Oh.
was
And I was
like,
like, how?
No, my
How?
mouse. And I was gonna like freak out for a second and then I was laughing at myself. I'm sorry.
Okay. So chapter 57. Kirst starts to come to from being knocked out, and she can tell that all of her weapons are gone, and she can feel that Graves is not around. She's really hoping he's going to show up, and is thinking about how like she's about to be in her worst nightmare right now. When she opens her eyes, she sees she's in that ballroom full of monsters, where King Louis is sitting on the throne, and he has young women drugged around her. And of course, one of them is Torah. I don't know if that was just like happenstance, if she got caught trying to leave, or just bad luck. But Torah was there and not looking super great. And
To me, like this all has to be a setup.
it felt very much like that.
yeah, but we didn't get it right. Like, well, I mean,
No,
we kind
like
of do a
almost
little
this
bit.
whole
But
book, like them taking Torah to begin with because of her connection with Kears.
I
maybe
said that in the beginning.
You
Like,
did.
No,
You
I
did.
know.
like I'm
just,
still there with you.
It just somebody knows of her powers.
Still not convinced that Tora is not somehow involved.
Daddy never said her dad was dead.
Honestly, we don't even know if her mom is dead.
But if
We don't know if
King Louis
anybody's
is her
dead.
dad.
Her mom died in childbirth too.
Yeah.
That's what she was
But
told.
we don't know because she doesn't.
We don't know.
Yeah.
She doesn't remember that.
But I'm also still like I wouldn't be shocked if Tora turned out to be a bad guy.
Yeah. But then at the same time, how the author's writing, she's not doing that, right? Like
No,
she's had the
yeah.
opportunities to be like, haha, I'm the bad
Mhm.
guy. Not doing
No,
it.
for
Long
sure.
play.
I think it's the writing that's confusing me.
Yeah. Maybe
But
it's
anywho.
intentional. Kirst sees Walter near King Louis and that he's holding the force field around King Louis. I don't know what I was doing when I was writing this, but the dude is just hanging out there with the spear in the box. Surprisingly, Louis like, my guest of honor, we went through a lot of trouble to get you here because your blood is a power enhancer. Thanks, Mafi. Pain in the ass. And he's like,
But he says, I went through trouble to get you here.
yeah, because Mafi gave her blood samples.
But
No.
Mavi did not do anything as getting her there.
I feel
So
like there's
between Tora
more. Yeah.
or Graves,
Oh, sorry. No, there's more to it, right? But like Mafi was like the final taster, right? Like,
like the confirmation for
Yeah.
sure, but for her actually being there, because he's like, my guest of honor. So he intended for her to steal that spear.
I feel
They were
like
waiting for
Mafi
her.
was just the catalyst.
What if it's Edgar? No, it can't be Edgar.
It's not Edgar.
doesn't explain it.
But
No,
it
we
could be
don't.
Lorcan
I thought about Lorcan a little bit too.
because he caught her sneaking out of the subway that one time.
Yeah, I think how the let's put a pin in it.
Pin.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I
Because I,
forgot
think that
he said
it's a
our guest of
deeper,
honor.
yeah. Yeah, because it is. He doesn't say why she's the guest of honor, but then he goes straight into the blood. Like, I've been looking for tasty little morsels like you. And he does not wait to get a taste. He just goes in and gets a drink of her. And I think he's really like gross. I'm picturing him really gross because she says that he grasped her wrist in his meaty fingers. It doesn't. Vampires are always hot. He's not.
No, like I
Hot
literally
vampire?
picture him as a chubby or a
Me
thick
too.
Lord Farquaad.
Or okay. Princess of the Frog. Yes.
Oh no,
Prince
remember I have
Naveen's.
it.
Oh, Prince Naveen's little like butler guy helper. He's like real.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing. Anyways, yeah, he goes for a drink and she is immediately feeling no more pain. She feels like she's drunk and feels ecstasy, really, really hating the situation, panicking where Graves is. So lots going on in her head and a little drunk, a lot aroused. She thought nothing could be as bad as a wish power, but she said she would take that every day over this feeling. I think this ties back into them talking about how much they crave control, both her and Graves. And the wish powder it made her feel ill, but it didn't make her feel out of control.
Yeah.
So this is, I think this is why. That's why this bothers her so much. Oh, my notes. Oh, wait, what is that? Yeah, so he's like, I'm going to be unstoppable. I have the spear. And here's his power. She's going to help him turn over the monster treaty. He's like, venom is incredibly potent and it moves very quickly. Gross. Now she's already like, she's going back into her, like, I need to get my footing, find an exit. How am I going to get out of this situation? And he can tell she's doing this. He's like, nobody's coming for you. Like, get over it. You're stuck here. You're going to be my snack. And going on about how nobody can get through my apprentice's wards. Don't even look at the thing. Like, there's not a chance.
Haha, joke's on you, Joker. Already
Yeah.
got
So
through 'em.
obviously that's not why she was brought there, right? Like, it's not what her power can do. I don't think people know what her
Yeah.
power can do, but that just it
Yeah.
is unique.
Well, and I was confused that he said that because how else did she get in the fucking vault or in the freaking vault? Like,
he's just not putting two and two together.
yeah.
He's not the brightest crayon in the box.
Yeah.
But yeah, he doesn't know what she's got up her sleeve. She cannot shift to slow burn. Oh, sorry. She can't shift to like her slow mo to burn off the venom because she's feeling so sluggish from the venom. And she gets a closer look at the spear. He's doing some kind of lame speech again. She just reaches through the wards and grabs it. Like, yoink, that's mine. And as soon as she grabbed it, no more venom feeling. Like, it just cleared her straight up. I put that it evaporated, but that's what the phone text to talk to text did. I don't know. But yeah, she doesn't feel the effects anymore. So immediately she can use her slow motion. She knows how to do everything now. So she could take a lot of power and she feels the untapped energy within the spear like it almost has a sentience to it. and it doesn't seem like first that it wants to bend to her will, but she does get it to do so. And she tells King Louis, I'm not used to anybody saving me, so I'll save my fucking self. And this whole time I was like, where the fuck is Graves?
Same, but I assumed he had gotten captured because he was in the room with her.
Right?
Well,
And then when
that
he wasn't here, I was like, he's in on it. And I still am not convinced that he wasn't in on it.
I definitely didn't get that vibe.
It was making me
Um,
angry. But like I said, I listened to it like 3 times, so I'm like, wait, what happened? But yeah, that's what I had for that one. It was a little messy, sorry.
So
But this is like part of the writing that I'm talking about because it's like he's like, no one's coming to save you, but doesn't say anything about Graves.
No,
And
like,
like,
it's like they
but
he mu
he was
yeah.
there.
Yeah, I don't think he ever noticed Graves, or maybe, since Graves' power is knowledge, maybe he has, like, this awareness of all these people, but he's more elusive, right?
Yeah,
He's more
but didn't
secluded
he
and
say
private.
something like yelled when she got captured?
The door slammed, so I doubt anybody would have had a chance to see him, right? Because she was slammed in there, right? That was the whole thing, like, "Don't go in there."
Yeah, but they were already in there, so they would have heard somebody say,
or
"Don't go
did they
in
use
there."
their super warp speed because they're vampires? Maybe he like could
I don't know. It seems odd.
hear them coming
Yeah.
or something.
He
It was
used his
definitely weird.
noise distortion.
But I do think it is important to note that the spear is almost like talking to her to
That's why I said it was sentient.
you didn't let me finish.
Dude,
Well, yeah, that's discipline.
Because it's telling her, use me, wield me, unleash me. Oh, how I've longed for you. Destroy our enemies.
As if it recognized her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it wanted to, like, let's just destroy some shit. And she's like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, 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 whoa.
I mean, anybody that has seen Supernatural, like it is definitely the blade of Cain,
No,
the
it's not.
jawbone.
It is
Did
the
you even
spear of
watch that all the
Lou.
way?
No, I have never seen any of it, but it's the spear of Lou. Liu.
I'm gonna cancel you
Liu.
myself.
Sorry, Jared Padalecki's hot though.
Hit it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, and the other one.
I don't remember the title of the books that we were reading. I don't remember the name of a sword from
I'm
a
talking about
20
when
series TV show.
you don't remember when he has to fight the need to kill everything in front of him whenever he holds the blade, the
I
first
haven't
blade.
seen that in so many years, and
Don't
so
they
many
each
things
die
happen in
like
that
800
show.
times?
Yeah, it's literally like
Chrissy, you don't
so
get an
much
opinion.
going
You
on
haven't
all
seen
the
one
time.
episode. Shush it.
It's a great show, but can I recall the details of anything about it? No.
I've never
She
been
does
more
clear up.
disappointed in both of you.
Graves hadn't been captured. He hadn't even made it to the room. So just so you know, I read that just now in accent. He wasn't in the room.
All right.
She knew he didn't get captured.
Chapter 58.
Sorry, Ashley. Okay, chapter 58. So King Louis is clearly shocked she went through his wards, and for some reason believes she also cannot get through his force field. Like, she can get through my wards, but I'm good. I'm safe here. Because he doesn't think she's powerful enough, but she is gonna keep her promise to kill this dude. Um, and she told him, "You are no king," and it's kind of contradictory because she says you're no king, but your reign ends today, which is kind of like acknowledging that he was king. I don't even know if did I just make that up or does it actually say that? Yeah. I'm sorry. I
You
skipped
are a
over like
puppeteer pulling strings. Your reign
Yeah.
ends today.
Yeah. So, same.
Mhm.
She stepped right into the force field, went after him with the spear, used her slow-mo, and she got to watch him realize he could not win this after him telling her how weak she was and um, how she didn't have enough power to even wield the spear. She got to deal the final blow, and when he asked her, like, how did you do this? She just said, magic.
Oh, you missed the best part. She tells
Okay, go
him,
for
I'm
it.
the monster in your nightmares.
I think I did write that down, but I think I wrote it after. But I might
Because
not.
he asked, who are you?
Yeah.
Before she
Oh,
Cuts his
Yeah.
head off.
Well, I said when he asked her how, she said magic and jabbed the spear through his heart. She said, "I'm the monster and your nightmares." Okay. Then she sliced his head off, so he's
And
dead.
let's not forget, she's literally in lingerie this whole scene.
Yeah. And like thigh-high boots too.
Why does that make it so much better?
Yeah, blood's
Because
buttering
naked fighting
and
is just
soaking the white
awkward.
of her
Yeah, right?
lingerie.
I'm picturing, like, you know how they have the powder puff football when they, like, play football in lingerie pretty much? The
Mhm.
girls do. This is what's happening. This is
And I think she was in a
but
baby
she's the
doll,
only
which
player.
they're
Yeah.
flowy, so like things are flopping
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, she's probably being exposed a little bit. But yeah, so she sliced his head off, boom, his head fell off his body, and she sees like chaos, panic. Walter's already gotten the fuck out of there. He's like, nah. And also the rest of the Men of Valor. Nobody's trying to avenge this dude. So apparently he's not that important. He just had some weird power over them. Um, and a figure appeared on the graves. This is where I was mad. I was like, where the fuck were you, dude? You just gonna pop
Right.
up? And as
When
soon
it's
as I read
over.
this, I was like, was he just like laying in wait? Or what, however you say that phrase? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, I'm gonna wait. And this is why I thought maybe like he was a conspirator. Like, why are you just right there, too?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did
Well,
he
it
have to
tells
wait for the
us.
chaos to come in? I know. But before, when I got to this, I was like,
Okay.
ah. So he shows up. I wrote, where did he come from? He's grinning like a crazy person. She doesn't question where he came from, which made me mad. But just like in the chaos, I guess, they grab Tora, they make their way out of there. Graves explains that he was gone because he was clearing their escape path. So he was just out there killing people or knocking them out or whatever to make sure they could get out. As they go out, they cross paths with Walter Rodriguez. And I really liked this interaction actually because Graves is immediately like, we need to put him down. But
Mm-hmm.
he more so got a taste of how he treated Walter when Walter told him he did not choose King Louis over him. Like, that's not what happened. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Graves discarded him, which that turns that perspective. Like, he's always had people leave. People always leave, but like, he's letting them. He's discarding them. Like, as soon as they break one piece of trust, like, you're done with me. And
He
he's
doesn't
like,
give
so,
them a choice
right.
or the option to redeem themselves when they make a mistake.
Yeah, he closes the mouth. Like, we're done now. So he just explains, like, I went to the next bidder. What did you expect me to do? And thinks he's a threat, but Kiersa's like, dude, he just wants to go. And I think this is why they work so well because she's like, he got roped into it. You did discard him because you didn't see his full potential. And like,
Mm-hmm.
you're having to deal with that now. But Walter's like, I swear I'm not going to work with the Men of Valor anymore. So they do let them go. Or they do let him go. And then they speak a little bit more about the spear. And this is where my notes were not good. So I need to kind of find it. But the spear is a god spear. Yeah, because Kirsten's like, what the fuck am I holding, Graves? I didn't know it was going to feel like this. So she's like, why is there power imbued in it? I wasn't expecting that feeling. Um, and she was basically like, there's a difference between knowing this is why we're going after the spear and knowing, like feeling it, the actual
Mm-hmm.
power. If the spear was literally a magic spear from the gods, if all the stories she's read from her assignments weren't just a kernel of truth but fact, then what was she and what was Graves? I'm just going to read the rest of this because it's pretty detailed and important. But he used the holly as a symbol. Of course, he would see the red as part of him. He hadn't said anything, and yet she knew it. Maybe she'd always known it because they'd been twined by that first night. As soon as he'd seen her red necklace, the moment she'd glimpsed him in his library, they'd been tied together like their magic in that kiss, an inextricable link. But she still had to say it. You're the Holly King. His throat bobbed before he nodded, and you are my Wren. This was unexpected on my part. I was not like in my mind, I was like, it was so far detached. Like this was so long ago that he could not be the Holly King. I don't know about you guys. If it took you
Oh
by
no,
No, I
I've
surprise at all.
just
definitely
been
thought it
waiting
was him.
since like the second
No,
page for us to
No,
say it.
I thought it was more symbolic this
Mm.
whole time. You know, like not really that he
no,
is
I
the
took
Holly
them
King?
100% literal.
Okay, I didn't. And so
Well, and
I know it probably shouldn't have surprised me, but it did just because of that.
I'm
Well-
just confused how she's his Wren. Like what that means.
I do a decent job of going through that, I think.
well, and
Mm.
like the reason I took it so literal is because of how detailed and how very on folklore and how on point everything in the beginning of this book was.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't let us kind of feel how we want to feel. Like she's telling us how we need to. Like she's
React.
pushing us down her path instead of us wandering, right? So that's kind of how I took
Okay.
that.
Did y'all have anything to add to that chapter before I move to the next one?
No.
Okay. All this while, by the way, like, he's just carrying Torah like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like
letting her-
knocked out or something.
yeah.
She's
But
the
she
venom.
was venom. She was
Venomized.
What's the word?
Envenomated.
Envenomated. Oh my God. What's wrong with us? Okay. So chapter 59, Kirsten is just like, how is this a thing? But like I can tell they're true. And the winter guide is before her. It's the winter solstice. And she's like, it has to be as destined as it feels. He goes on to explain that the Holly King is the power. So he explains the Holly King is the power of winter. He comes into the height of his power on the summer solstice, and it wanes after the winter solstice. That's when he has
Tomorrow.
what?
Tomorrow, all of his power will start to wane.
Okay. Did I say something wrong?
No.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
was
After
giving
you're
you
just
an
saying
adder.
after tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's when he has the battle with the Oak King, which I thought was symbolic, whose Robin is a symbol of the upcoming fall. And Graves is red symbol. The Wren is a symbol of the upcoming spring. Kyrus goes on that like she's a bad omen. I'm the bird that dies after Christmas. And he agrees, like, you are a bad omen, but until then, you enhance my power. And he's at his height right up to the end of the longest night of the year. So this is the end of his height of his power right now. She is his downfall after the solstice. He never planned to fall for her, and working with her was a gamble. And it's actually kind of poetic to fall for the source of your own destruction. I actually wrote here, meanwhile, he's carrying Torah like a sack of potatoes. And I think that's because that's when Torah comes back into it. They kind of take a pause. He sits her down, and Kyrus and Torah have like a really anticlimactic goodbye. She's
This
just
is
like,
actually one of the reasons I still think Tora's involved. Because she's like all woozy and knocked out until, they're leaving. And now she's like, okay, yeah, you can put me down. Like out of nowhere. It was
but
very
she didn't
suspect.
draw her in there. Like Kyrus wouldn't have gone down to look
Mhm.
for her had it like whoever set her going to Graves in motion. Duh, Christy, like Amberdash, King Louis. Amberdash
Lorcan.
sent her on that job.
Well, Lorcan was the backer.
Yeah, there's like all kinds of.
Mm.
She didn't put them together. Like she never came to like, oh, look at this tie and this tie. So maybe it's just down the line. But anywho, yeah, very anticlimactic like separation they have. She offers to help her. She offers her to, you should go to Colette's. She really just wants to be out in the air and do her own thing. So she just, in this world where she just got up from being taken by the vampires, she just lets her walk off alone in the dark in her hooker
Yeah,
clothes.
I would have been like, take
Yeah,
me
in her
home
hooker
with
clothes.
you. I'm never going to be alone again.
Yeah, like, she doesn't have any weapons. I mean, like, it was interesting. Did she even give her any money?
No, and it's also like they're in probably Times Square, which is the most dangerous part too. So yeah,
I
none
can't
of it made
remember.
sense.
Yeah, it was not, it was confusing.
Again, I could see like Torah's not bad, and like just the writing of this again is like what?
She'd spent a lot of time building, but she didn't spend enough time here. The ending felt a little more like rushed.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
like, just the decision making, like,
yeah.
just take
Like,
her home with
why?
you and put her in a room, we don't have to talk about her, but why is she
Yeah.
walking around in the deadliest part of this when she's been kidnapped for the
Yeah.
last year?
And no, it didn't work. It didn't really, like,
Yeah.
sit right with me either, and then they just, like, "Do, getting in the car, yay, tourist free."
Yeah.
Back in the car, they look at the spear, and what she's like, "It seems like it wants to impose its will on me. It doesn't want me to let it go." So I think he's obviously wanting it. Like, "Okay, you can give it to me
Mhm.
now." She's like, "Nah, it likes me." So, um the essence of the spear derives from the story of Lou himself, who was so skilled that he outsmarted the doorkeeper to be allowed into the court of Tuatha De Danann. Only when the gods were outmatched in a great battle did they appoint Lou their commander. There he used the spear to slay their enemies. And she's like, well, it feels like it would like to do that right now. It's definitely in enemy slaying mode. And so they just confirming like it's alive as well. Right. And she's like, what the fuck do you mean as well, dude? You have another one. So we did theorize this too. He is out to get all these artifacts. There are 4 of them. We're like, he probably already has one. So each book he's going to be going after an artifact. Like we had this full conversation. So another point where I was like, go us. Uh, but yeah, so he goes back to explain it. So he doesn't have the cauldron or the stone, but he does have the sword and now the spear. And says they were thrown across the world. The spear's always been the loudest as it is nigh unstoppable. So it seems like the most beneficial one to have. Um, they belong to him as much as any other because his mother was descended of the magical line who worshipped the Tuatha De Danann. Anyone who is of the line could lay claim to them, not me. So that's not just him, obviously. So we're gonna have some competition here. Um, And my notes aren't very good here. Sorry, guys. I'm struggling. Um, but she's saying, I remember he had gone to Ireland, but she didn't realize it was this line, the actual worshippers of these ancient Celtic gods. Something important about the spear. Wait, and he wants to do. Is this where it says what the spear does? Yes, the sword of truth shows truth in all things. I missed that when I first read through it. But the sword of truth shows truth in all things. And maybe he didn't say it yet, but you get what I'm saying. He wants to do a spell with them.
Do we?
I think so, yeah. Wait, what?
Do we what?
What? Wait,
I
what?
said, you get what I'm saying.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
not.
Oh.
true. Okay, I was like, wait, did I miss? I'm fumbling right now, so I'm like, did I fuck up? So yeah, he wants to get all of them so he can do a spell, and he's super fake about it, very flat, very powerful magic. That's all she was gonna get. She just accepts that. They get into the garage. She wants to see the sword. Can you show me your sword? Not suggestive though. And when they get out of the car, he has this super secret um room in there, has a retinal scanner, fingerprint. And in the room there's a vault, and she says it's impenetrable, which she doesn't say ever. So it
Yeah.
has the system, wards, and she's like, Graves was not fucking around. So the only thing in this is the sword of truth. That's where he says that it shows truth in all things. But she could just feel this sense that something's wrong. The house is silent. Um, the wards are down, and somebody's there. So they make their way in. He doesn't lock the sword back away. He takes it with him. And there is something going on in the Holly Library. Doors are open. And who would be in there but Jen and Ethan, who are held by druids, and Lorcan's sitting there like royalty. So I still don't grasp how he broke Graves's wards unless he didn't need to. Like I think it says something about the wards, but it still didn't follow it.
It
But
just says
that's
the wards are down.
yeah. But in a little bit he asks him, but I still
They
didn't
did
understand
spells.
how.
They did spells.
Spells. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they're batch. Okay.
Yeah.
They do like magic, like spells
Yeah.
they're kind of like witches, but is that right?
Mm-hmm.
The druids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I had. Sorry, I got a little messy there in the end.
Chapter 60. So Jen and Ethan are hostages, but they've each only got one dude on them. And Graves is not happy because Lorcan is breaking the agreement and he doesn't care. Um, he, like, he's like, you think I was gonna like pass this night up? And he came for the magical artifacts that belong to his people, and he calls him Brannon, which is apparently Graves's real name.
Which I like. I
Um,
feel like in all of these magic worlds, like you don't speak somebody's true name. I don't know that they
yeah,
went into this here in this book, but
Yeah.
it's pretty common. Oh, before you go, I wanted to say like his first interaction is telling Pierce like you didn't answer any of my text messages.
I skipped over the creepy part. I
But
did do
like
that.
weird, right? Like you didn't get the message.
Yeah.
But he broke through the wolf lockdown, which ties into me being like, why didn't she ward more? She just warded against witch power, not
Mhm.
people.
Well, because remember, the more like the warding is a slow but constant drain of magic too.
Yeah.
And she ain't got, not that she doesn't have much, but she doesn't know how to use it
Yeah.
really that well.
Brandon.
So Graves wants to take things outside. He says it more than once, which was like he was really adamant about it. And then Larkin's like, nope, this is kind of the perfect place for this. The Holly Library, which is a little on the nose, and a Wren at your side, and it's the winter solstice. And then it's like a light bulb goes off in Kierce's head. And she's like, holy shit, you're the Oak King.
I liked whenever I saw the acorn, I was like, that was Hannah, right? And Hannah was like, the acorn. Oak.
Mhm.
So Kierce is not having it. She tells them she doesn't give a shit about their lame feud and whatnot. She just wants her friends back. And Lorcan is giving her the age old, wow, my whole brain just died.
If you don't, just hand it over then. Like if you want your friends back so bad,
Damn, I had the word coming out of my mouth and then whatever. He's giving
what
her
is he giving her?
an option. When you have to pick
Yeah.
one option and they're both shitty.
Oh,
An ultimatum.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, almighty.
Hannah thought of the word. Hannah, you never think of the word?
I was just thinking about burritos.
She's over here like, damn, a burrito sounds nice. What's happening? Ultimatum, yeah.
Yeah. And it is give me the spear and you can have your friends, or don't, and I will take the spear. And she's like, yeah, no, I'm not giving you the spear. She knows that as soon as he gets the spear, he's just going to kill everybody and no one's going to be able to stop him. And Lorcan's getting kind of fed up with it, and he fires a warning shot, her besties, and is like, the next time I'm not going to miss. And then we go down the rabbit hole of why Lorcan is just so out of sorts and whatnot. And it is because Graves killed his 16-year-old sister way back when. And he kind of loses his shit. And he's like, you don't deserve anybody like Kierce. Like, you don't deserve to have that kind of relationship. Da da da. And so he aims his gun at Kierce, and Graves goes to jump in front of him, and Lorcan shoots a warning shot and is like, no, like, don't move. And Kierce decides she's had enough and says that she's going to give him the spear. And of course, Graves is like, no, you can't do that. Like, he's going to kill everybody. And she's like, um, he has my weakness. I'm sorry that you don't have one, which was cold AF. But yeah, I was actually really surprised when she said that. And Graves tells Lorcan, like, you're going to regret this, but not for the reason that you think. And then he very quickly uses his super warp speed, turns around, and pulls the sword up to Kierce and drags it from her shoulder across her stomach all the way down to her hip, which he doesn't cut her. It's like, I felt like she doesn't really describe it very well, but I felt like he just like lightly touched her.
Like it cut through the what's the word for it?
Glamour.
The
It was
binding.
very reminiscent of
Yeah.
the glamour in this one, wherever it is.
Oh, yeah,
When
yeah,
he,
yeah.
but he was a lot more violent with slicing through her glamour.
This is very true. And all of a sudden, Kierce is just absolutely bombarded with magic. And after it does its whole,
It says he just
Mhm.
held it up to her face.
No, it says
No.
he went from
He
shoulder
dragged
to
it down her
across
body. Yeah. He did, but he just like dragged it. He didn't slice her. He just like dragged the
Yeah.
sword across her.
Oh, the next paragraph, sorry.
Sophie.
And oh yeah, so the magic goes all wild, but then once it's done doing its thing, she says she feels lighter, as if chains had been broken. And she's like, "What did you do to me?" And he tells her that I revealed who you truly are, what you truly are. And Lorcan is like silently losing his mind. Like, he's beyond shocked. And he's like, "But they're all dead." Graves is like, "Apparently not all of them."
And she's like, what the fuck is it?
Yeah, she's like, what am I?
Stop talking about me
And-
like I'm not here.
Yeah. And they tell her she is a wisp. And then
Nothing I've ever heard before.
So I can't think of Wisp without thinking of, I'm sorry, Brave, the Will of the Wisps. The movie
that's
Brave.
literally
the
what
Disney
she is.
movie.
Hmm.
Yeah. They lead you on a path. But and it talks about it at the beginning of the book, right, Ashley?
Yeah, that was
Like
the
the-
story. The blue
Yeah.
light, the little blue
They
light.
lead you to your peril, right? But it's like is one of the first stories she read. Like
They got eaten by a
Oh,
bear or
I didn't pay
something.
attention to
Yeah.
those.
yeah. It was but the wisp is the actual threat or something like that. I
Okay.
don't remember how the story went, but
Yeah, the guy died.
he did die.
I remember I only thought about the girl, the man, and the bear in the woods, but clearly.
Anybody want to add anything? Any additional details, feelings, concerns?
Question, comments?
Okay, cool. Chapter 61. So, and of course she's like, say what? And they clarify, Will of the Wisps, Willa the Wisp, I should say, and the last of her kind. And they are Fae, and she's like fairy, and she's basically an alien. I don't know if you guys caught that, but he says that they came to Earth for whatever reason, and then they were all killed off. So like they didn't originate on Earth, so they're aliens. Should be an alien.
I didn't catch this at first, but it says there's a glow
And she has
on
pointy
her
ears.
skin.
Yeah, so whenever he first like dragged the sword across, she had this like blue and gold like aura glow to her.
But it says she can see exactly where her absorption magic levels are. That's
I did miss
Yeah.
that.
what the
too.
glow is.
That was cool.
Yeah. So she'll turn red when she's about to
She just starts blinking.
explode. Interesting.
Do you guys want to hear the story really quick?
No.
You don't want the story with the Will of the Wisp? It's real quick.
Let
Yes,
her tell
no?
you the story. She wants to
Okay,
tell you the
so
story.
So it's like the little girl who was led astray by the Will of the Wisp, and she wanted a happy ending. I didn't need a savior. I saved myself, but others weren't as lucky. That's the way of the world. I assume you wanted me to see I could be consumed by the monster that was waylaying me. Was that the metaphor? But she wasn't consumed by the monster, and she's consumed by the bear. The only real monster in the story is the bear. The bear and the monster that pulled her off of the path, the wisp. They both led to her death. So she is a monster that pulls people off their path to their death. Is the wisp, if we want to put it
Which
in
is why
layman's
she's a
terms.
Wren.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
So
No, it was bad. So
And I found the sentence. He said they were very powerful magic users who came over from their world millennia ago. Alien. And they were aligned with the druids for centuries until their kind disappeared. So, yeah, she's kind of freaking out right now. Lorcan he calls her a miracle. So he is
I
now
picture him just like
100%.
worshiping her, like, oh,
Yeah. Like, oh my
Mhm.
God. Like, she could spit in his face and he would cry in delight. So then she has another light bulb moment because she knows that he knew what she was for some time because she asked, like, how long have you known? And he tells her that he suspected it ever since Mafi brought up the absorption when he
mhm.
was like, I knew someone, but then never explained. He was talking about wisps. But he then clarifies to say that he only suspected it because wisps never had her limitations. So yeah, she might have the absorption part, but they weren't as weak as her because he did not know.
She
Because
was
she's like, well,
bound.
you could have used the sword, and he's like, but I didn't know you were bound. So then, of course, then he wouldn't need the sword, like if he doesn't think she's bound. And then Lurkin in all his glory is like, no, he didn't tell you because wisps can kill warlocks. And then she basically has,
Well, before that, she said, "You mean you didn't trust me to know about the sword?" And Lorcan said, "That's exactly what he means."
okay, so I didn't lead it in with the whole story, but yes.
No, but it was just funny to me because, like, Lorcan's not talking, and then Lorcan's like, "Yeah, that's what it means. He didn't
Yeah, he's
trust
like
you
egging
because
her
it
on
would
to
just
like get
yeah
her on his side.
on
Mhm.
his
Even more now
side."
that he
Yeah,
knows what she is.
he's basically like, "Yeah,
Get
girl."
him.
Like that's
Yeah,
how I took
we're
that.
pissed at him. He lied to us. So yeah,
Yeah.
don't let him get away with that shit.
And so now she is exceptionally upset, like Graves level when he found out about the cell phone. And like, how dare he think that she would hurt him? Like, it is an absolute total betrayal for her that he could think that of her. And he immediately denies that he thought that, but she's in the middle of her midlife crisis and like, nope, not happening. And she's still holding the spear, mind you, which tells her she is of its line too. And she's like, oh shit. So then she claims ownership of the spear.
It's mine.
And yeah,
Mhm.
Lorcan's like, absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
You go, girl.
Like,
Yeah.
it's yours.
As it should
Yeah.
be.
And
I think he just mostly wants Graves not to have it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And Graves is just too absorbed in their feud to really even be a valid part of the conversation anymore. And then they battle it out. And Kierst decides, like, all right, I'm gonna let them do their thing. Like, this is literally destined. So I'm not gonna get in the middle of that. And uses her slow-mo to go get her friends. And so there's the two guards. One of them gets the upper hand and goes to shoot Kierst when the other guard all of a sudden jumps up and in front of Kierst to protect her. And he gets shot. And as he's like taking his last breath, he's like, not the wisp. And then he dies. And this lady is like, oh my God, what did you like? I cannot believe that I can't believe I just killed you. She's very upset. So now she's got Jen and Ethan, and the only way out of the library is through the battle royale going down. And so they make their way around to like one little area, and she's like, okay, I'm going to get across. And as soon as I open the door, you have to run as fast as you've ever ran. Don't look back. Do not engage. in any way with either of them. If they get close, just keep on running.
But don't worry.
Wait, but Jen,
Go ahead. We're about to say the same thing.
were you going to
Go
say
for
the
it.
same
Go for
thing?
it.
That's it.
Jen's like, you too,
Don't
kitty,
worry.
and picks
Oh,
up the
yes.
cat.
I was gonna say, don't worry, Jen's got Anne Boleyn.
Yeah.
And the damn cat just jumps right in her hands.
I have to go back really quick because whenever they start battling, important Kyr's notes for a split second, she thought that Graves would rebut what he'd done when he realized he had lost the sword, but he was too absorbed in his feud with Lorcan to see that he'd shattered her trust along with the binding of her true identity. And so that I was looking for the moment where he broke her, and that was it.
Yeah.
But then we can go back to Jen grabbing Anne Boleyn. She just
That's
has that
the
aura about
real-
her, like
Yeah.
that everybody loves her. And so the cat's like, yes,
Mhm.
I will come to you. Fuck
That's
you,
me.
Kyr's.
And still in that moment, Kirsty's like in shock
Yeah.
that she just went with
She's
her.
like, this
"What the f-
bitch.
Yeah, we've been friends.
I've literally been trying to
just
be your
met her
friend this whole
today."
time. This is my
Of
little
course,
cat.
Anne Boleyn loved Jen.
Okay. So she tells them to run and don't engage. And she gets over to the door. And as she's opening it, she glances up at the fight right as everything shifts and Lorcan gets the upper hand and stabs Graves in the shoulder with his blade, which then causes Graves to drop his sword.
Shoulder blade.
Yeah. And as soon as he drops his sword, like he looks at Kyr's and it's like deadlocked eye contact. Lorcan picks up the sword, which makes him the victor, apparently. And Graves is going down. And she's like, even though she's super angry, totally crushed and whatnot, in the heat of battle, he still only focuses on her. And then Lorcan raises the sword to finish the job. And she's like, nope. And all of a sudden, she is right in the thick of it, right between them, throws up the spear. And as he's coming down with the sword, and it clashes, and all of the magic of the Oak King in full force explodes into light and goes straight through her heart. And she's consumed by the power. And then it bursts out of her, makes a hole in the roof of the brownstone. And it says, what was left of Kyr's exploded with it.
So here we're like, did she explode?
Well, I think it was like Kyr's because now she's somebody
yeah,
else.
she's a wisp.
Yeah.
I was having a hard time at the end of the book the whole time with like where they stand. Like she betrayed him. It's good. He betrayed her. And she's like, I don't want him to die. Like I can't imagine my world without him. Like even with what he did or what I'm feeling right now. So like this is where I'm like, this is where they left it. Like she saved him because she still wants him to be in her world. And then like
or not dead.
maybe.
Okay, chapter 62. So she has what we're calling God magic coating her body. She feels like she's being burned alive. Graves is pleading for her to give the magic to him. It was meant for him. She obviously tried to protect him and it all went into her body. But she's like, yeah, I don't know how to do that. So she's just like trying to give him this magic for what seems like an eternity. She's able to get like a small amount to him finally. And then he's like, yes, there you go, do it again. He moves a memory into her mind. While she obviously is overwhelmed with magic, she knows this is an old memory before he was who he is now. He gives her the memory that we talked about a couple chapters ago. That's a field of flowers.
That's what she
Everything
smells like.
yeah, everything smells fresh and new, and that's what she smells like to him. So she's struggling to dispel this magic still. Graves is begging Lorcan to do like his magic rituals, but he's like, I can't, and basically accepts that she's gonna die. And he's like, okay, tell her your goodbyes. And Jen is freaking out. She's like, what do you mean? You need to do something. So she goes over there with Ethan. So they go to her side, and then somehow they all connect through magic again. And all three of them are like pulled off the ground, or they're like floating in midair. And magic erupts and rips a hole in the library, but she was alive. So the three of them together like dispelled her magic. Graves explains that they have joined what we're calling a triskel. So another new word to my fantasy dictionary, which is when a druid, a high priestess, and a wisp connect their magic. So then obviously
They were
Ethan and
destined.
Jen are like, oh, that means that like we are something. So they are shocked to both find out that, well, really probably Ethan Druid. We knew that Jen was a high priestess. We just didn't know that really she was.
Mhm.
I mean, this is the first time we've heard of a high priestess, no?
No, I
Like
think
in
in the
this book?
beginning
They
Okay.
mentioned something about a high priestess earlier,
Okay.
but
she
Okay.
had been told she was a high priestess, but she like could only read like tarot cards
Gotcha.
or something like that, or they did that to like play into. They
yeah,
thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
jokes on them.
Yeah, so Lorcan jumps in and he's like, you are my people. I can train you. And she's like, the fuck? You just kidnapped all of us and like try
Yeah.
to kill my friends like 10 times and all of this crazy stuff. So she's like, yeah, fat chance. You need to get out of here. And Graves explains that wisps and druids are aligned, which Lorcan said earlier. Kierce makes a comment that she knows that that's not all of it based on Lorcan's reaction to her. So there's a piece of information we're missing here, because he calls her something very specific.
I'm looking it up right now.
In some
Choose
language.
LaCroix.
Yeah, something
I
like
think.
that. LaCroix. There you go.
Kuzla Macri.
Accoutrement.
Oh, pulse of my heart. Beat of my heart. The beat of my heart. Yep.
So my thinking is
My darling, my
now
love.
she's also going to be like somehow tied to Lorcan, and now they're going to be fighting over her. But anyway,
Or
Love
it's gonna end up being a
triangle.
white shoes at the end.
No, I hate white chooses. I don't want to
So
white
do
choose.
I.
I would rather her choose her friends. Maybe that's the love story.
yeah. So Graves says also, I can train you too. He's not the only one. And Jed's like, nope, we're good on our own. And
Yeah.
you guys
It's like,
literally just blew this place apart. We don't need you. And
You're the
that's the
problem.
end
You're
of that
toxic.
chapter.
That was like just fed into my it's a lot of shit just happened in this one chapter that was not digested well.
Yeah.
I did not digest it well. It's
Yeah.
like, do
I
we
mean-
hate Graves now? Because I can't gauge. She just shut him out completely. No, I don't want anything from you in
I
this
get
chapter.
her reaction. I
too.
don't hate her. Just the way he has written, like we see the other side to where it's like besides this one thing, and when we know they both have such trust issues and they both have this long history of whatever, it was
Yeah.
like that was his biggest he needs these
Yeah.
4 things. He's been searching centuries for these, and now he's finally going. If that's the one thing he held from her.
Yeah.
Now the whole wisp thing.
Actually don't disagree with him though. Like he didn't
It was
know
a-
she was bound.
Right, and
So
also, everything else they had going on, maybe now's not the time. Let's get through the winter solstice, and then we can figure out
Yeah.
what the heck's going
Yeah.
on.
I don't know. It's fuddle.
But I also get her
fuddles.
being like, yeah, fuck you. Especially after his reaction about the cell phone.
Well, see,
Yeah.
this is the beautiful thing about having a one-sided book versus when you get the dual perspective. Because when you only get the single perspective of the main character, it's much more realistic, right? You see exactly why, you don't have any extra pieces of information that she doesn't have.
No, it's like it's happening to you.
Yeah.
So your
It's like, oh,
reactions.
what the hell? But we know in reality there are other things going on his side that like we have no idea about. He's been
Yeah,
alive for
like-
over 500 years.
Naturally, people are not going to play devil's advocate on their own behalf. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like in a situation where it's just them and one other person, they're not going to play devil's advocate for the other person.
Especially not on something like this
Mm-mm.
during a time like this.
Yeah, not when it's like I've been trying to figure out who the hell I am this entire time.
Yeah. You know.
Someone just shot a bullet at your toes. Your friends are being held hostage.
But he had just failed too. Like, she was reeling from the disappointment in not being a warlock. I don't know. There's a lot of.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's
Like,
a lot
for
of
him to
emotion
say,
going
actually,
on,
I think
too.
you're a wisp. I think the approach was right. But like,
But also, like, they haven't been heard of in centuries. Like, that's a big leap.
Yeah. Like literally they don't exist. She is one of any.
And he would have had to divulge that he had the sword in order to
Yeah.
use it on her, which was like his biggest secret.
Which she was kind of butthurt about that, but
Fair,
I
but
don't
I'm
feel
like,
like
give it another month and then you're right.
I don't even know that
Yeah.
it's fair for her to be butthurt about it. They haven't known each other that long. Like,
No, I agree, but in the moment she gets to be upset.
yeah.
okay,
But-
yes, I agree. She gets to
Yeah,
have
like
her
she
moment.
needs to go on her little wanderer's journey
This is
and
the last
like
we
chapter,
haven't
right?
gotten
And then
there.
the
take a
interlude?
break. Yeah, 63. So Nate basically just chauffeurs her over to Colette's. Nothing really happens in their conversation. And as he is leaving, he gives her an envelope from Lorcan, and he's like, he doesn't deserve this, but here. I'm like, oh, fuck Nate, stop being a pawn.
Yeah.
Make
Like
him
of
give
all
it to her.
people.
Yeah, exactly. And she reads the letter. Basically, it's just saying not to trust Graves. And then he says, to start your journey. I guess we didn't talk about it. They're gonna go on this journey. To find
Yeah,
out
we
who
don't
they
really
are.
know the full spec.
They
Mm.
don't
Nope.
really dive into it, but they're gonna go
They're
on a
going to go to
journey
Ireland.
to get some answers on who they are magically now. And Lorcan says to start at the Goblin Market. In Ireland is where they're going. Kierce obviously is not deterred by this thing, and she doesn't care that she is sacred to his people. So she is at Colette's. They are in their old apartment, and she's just kind of taking it all in and like talking to us about what this old apartment looked like with the three of them living in it, blah blah.
Like, I can't believe how small it is. Like,
Yeah.
I think being in an actual bedroom, she's like, oh my God.
Mhm. So then Jen like nudges Ethan and is like, tell her. And he explains to Kierce that he is gonna stay behind and train with Lorcan. Dumb ass. What? What?
I do not support that.
I think it's just like,
No.
but at the same time, Ethan also has this, he doesn't belong anywhere. And he's found out he's a druid, and there are people that are the same and can
Yeah,
train
but it's like
them.
they're not going forever. They're gonna come back.
Yeah. I don't, that's.
And
And it's like you three just united. You don't think the three of you should stay together?
And I would
He
put
also
money
probably
that there
doesn't
are
wanna leave his
real
boyfriend.
druids in Ireland too. Like,
Yeah,
you think
and
he's
it's
the
like
only one?
so. Well, yeah. So Kierce is obviously like, the fuck you are, and Jen's like, no, you have to let him do whatever he's gonna do. They clearly don't agree with him.
He's gonna be a pawn that
Well,
Lorcan
right, and-
uses.
Maybe he's
And
the
that's
Robin.
to
what
get her.
Kierce is explaining, and he's like, you're gonna have strings attached to this, and he's like, yeah, well, you chose your whatever, and I was just like, it's so different. Such a different situation, you idiot. You big dumb idiot. You almost
Yeah.
die. She saves your life, and then
Because
y'all,
of this dude twice.
yes, you're kidnapped from him. He just held your ass. He was about to kill you. Knife and gun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
all of it.
just an
No
idiot.
regrets.
An idiot. I hope he fucking gets shot. Not deadly, but
I was like, that's
shot in
real
the leg.
rude.
I hope someone
He
shoots
does
him in the
probably-
leg.
I don't know if y'all heard me, but he seems pretty serious with his boyfriend too. So maybe
Oh,
that
like
ties into
he's
it.
staying for
Like,
his. I thought that for a
you know,
second
like-
too, but also like again, the three of you just found out together,
Yeah.
and now you're not only a druid, you are this like
what's it? What was it? It was a weird word. Trifecta.
A
The
Trisket.
trinket. Trisket.
Trisket.
Triskel. Triskel.
Triskel.
Not biscuit. Not a
Triskel, yeah.
Triscuit like a cracker.
It's a
Triskel.
Trisket.
But whatever. We'll see how that works. Obviously, Jen's being smart and gonna go with Kier's. And he's like, of course. So I do feel like he also maybe is like a little left out of the two of them or something. Like he's kind of the third wheel, but like cry me a river. That's why you should go on the trip with them.
Duh, you're like making yourself more of a third
Yeah.
wheel. You're gonna be like your own wheel now. You're a unicycle. They're
Unicycle.
So Graves shows up, of course, which she's surprised about. She's like, oh, like you came to me.
I was actually a little surprised by that too, that he showed up
Yeah.
at Colette's.
So she asks him if he's going to ask her to stay. And he's like, would that work? He's like, stay. She's like, no, I can't. She knows she needs to go and get answers on her own. If
She did
she
not try very
returns, it's going to
hard.
be on her terms. Says he can tell her where to start. And he says the Goblin Market, same place Lurkin told her. So she's like, they at least told me the same answers. So take that for what you will. I don't know what that means. They both confess to each other that everything was real. And then she literally, like, they don't say bye or anything. She just walks off, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll
That
be
was
back
so
later."
diabolical. She just
He's like, "Will you come back?" And she's like, "Yeah, this is my home. Peace."
like I read that 2 or 3 times. Like, did I miss something?
That's what I was saying. Like when the book ended, I was like,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely
Ugh.
wild.
it wasn't even like real. I mean, if you look at it, it wasn't even really set up.
No, that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
is
It's
this?
not a cliffhanger. It's just like, okay, cool.
I like the book. Don't get me wrong, K.A. Lind, but there were some interesting writing choices that we.
I need the
had
second
here.
book to redeem.
Yeah, I'm like, I hope that's the point. Maybe like all of these weird things like come to fruition in a second. I doubt it, but I hope at least her writing gets better, and maybe like she's able to like fully process the book and then write it versus like in the middle. Now we're just throwing things away. Like I swear she writes something like we pick something up and then we never hear about it again.
Yeah, I mean, she's doing it intentionally. Like, sleight
Maybe
of
she
hand.
is, and I apologize in
surprise us.
advance if that's the case.
But it's
I
still
feel like it
it's
has to
disorienting a little
be
bit.
with both of them still being like the main characters in the next 2
Well,
books. Like
this part, yes. The end, like, okay, I get it. She's upset. This just happened, and she's got to go on this adventure. Okay. Could have been written better still, but
they
there's
just like
just
confess their
so
love to
many
each other.
things in this.
And it's like, bye, bro.
it was very bipolar.
And
I
the
felt-
whole
I was just
Ethan
like-
of it all, like, I don't know. Yeah, I
I
definitely
don't like
think
the Ethan thing. I do not
the
approve.
last 5 chapters should have been the last 10 chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyhow, interlude.
Yeah.
The interlude, I have like 3 whole bullet points. Graves is feeling cold with Kiers's absent, and the cat is missing her too, of course. He's contemplating the 4 treasures he needs now that he has none. He's like, well, at least I know where 2 of them are, but he's like back to square one. So she really came in and flipped his world
Yeah.
upside down.
He had half of them, and now he's got none of them.
And no girl. He fell in love, and
And
he finally took a girl to his bed.
He's like, this is why I didn't do this shit. This is why I just let people leave. What the fuck?
So he
Who
gets
signed
a
up for this?
call from his long lost Laz. We don't know who it is.
I've never heard of this character before, yeah?
No. And we
Wait,
find out
Lazarus.
that he has found the cauldron, one of the 4. And we end with Graves saying he needs a thief. So theories. Is it going to be Kier's? Or do we think he'll hire Walter?
No,
Well,
it's
Walter's not a
definitely.
But he could. Why couldn't he? He's a tech genius.
Did you
He
see
doesn't
him
wanna sleep
stomping
with
around,
Walter.
Hannah? He stomped through everywhere. He'd be a terrible thief. Pierce made a very clear point that he was
Yeah.
But nobody
overconfident
can
and
touch him. He
unsubtle.
can just go in and grab it.
I bet they need some tact for the thieving.
I don't know. I feel like maybe Walter's gonna come up.
Is that your
Also-
official theory?
No,
Well,
he's gonna
obviously
go look
Kier's
for.
is.
Do we think that Kier's is gonna, or the next book's gonna start with like Kier's and Jen are back, like they had their adventure, we get the recap, and then
I
go to
hope
what's
not.
next? Or do we think that Graves is gonna go to her?
I am hoping. Well, here's the thing. With it being a small fucking book, I don't know. But if this was a regular read, I would say it's both happening simultaneously. We're learning about them being in Ireland at the same time as we're learning about Graves setting up for this heist.
Well, and also remember that at least if there isn't at least a quarter to a third of this book that is directly from Lorcan and whoever the
has to
Robin
be.
is, which I think is
Yeah.
going to be like Tora or something.
What if it's Ethan?
I just said I thought it was Ethan earlier, but y'all didn't listen to me.
Didn't hear you.
It's okay. It was when I was talking about his boyfriend. I was like, maybe he's the Robin.
Mm,
It didn't say the Robin has to be a lady.
it
And
did
Ethan
not?
is gay.
He's lady-ish, lady adjacent.
He is a feminine.
Is Lorcan fluid?
Does it have
Lorcan
to be
seems-
romantic?
No, I don't think so.
I would think not, because they're like, fuck, I shouldn't have fallen for you. You're my downfall.
Did you guys
What if it is
catch-
Ethan and he catches him and now he's his prisoner?
Yeah, I agree. Because
Well, he already has a
Robin.
Robin. Remember, he
Does
has
he?
the Robin in his cage. In the cage in his
No,
office.
but it's an actual Robin. It could be an actual bird.
It has to be a
There's
person.
magic, Christy. It could be anything. That bird
Yeah,
could be a person.
We've been talking about the cat being a human this whole
Thank you.
time.
But like, I don't know.
No, I know.
Did
I
you-
disagree with Ash's theory, but
Did you guys catch, because I didn't at first, like how pissed Graves is that Lorcan called her the pulse of his heart? He's like,
Oh, yeah.
of course, after all this, I have to contend with this as well. Like, he's gonna make moves on my girl.
yeah, that's what I was saying. I think
Yeah.
that because Kyrus was like, there's more to this. He's not telling me that she's somehow
Yeah.
faded with him now, too. And it's going to be
gonna
a
be a
fight
throuple.
for her.
But there's nothing in the story, like the Wren dies. It's not like the Wren goes to the Robin dude's side after the winter solstice.
But now she's a wisp. It's a whole different thing.
she's a Wren of wisp. We're rid of the wisp.
But a wisp is the Wren to the Holly King.
In this instance, right? I'm so confused. I'm confused about the whole thing. Like, if they are destined to kill each other every year, how are they still here?
They battle, not kill each other.
Well, he was about to die because she
yeah,
died.
but I don't think they want to. I don't think
And
the
then
goal is
That's
they're
to
why
like,
they
die.
no,
had the
you
agreement,
can't
I
die
think.
yet. You're supposed to die in a month.
Maybe the agreement. That's a good point. We never learned more about the agreement.
Yeah.
There's a lot of missing holes here. But I feel
Like,
like
we need to write down what we missed, but
Yeah,
then we have to
'cause
go back through everything.
we definitely
Yeah,
felt
that
this
won't
way when we read the Games Gods play. Not to
Mm.
this level, because this is just confusing, is it? The
Because there's
writing?
not as much of it, I think, to fill
Yeah.
gaps.
Yeah.
And you can't add much. You can't keep adding things.
Yeah.
You only have this many pages to explain
Yeah.
them.
She needs to use smaller font, downsize the font.
Well,
Just make
it
the
could
book more
be like
pages.
it could be like the Crucible series where the first book is literally the setup for the whole second book.
Yeah. That's what I've been playing in the back of my mind. I didn't say it since I said it so much in that series. But also,
Oh.
I'm not confident in this writing.
Do you guys want me to read the Inside Sleep in the next book? Okay, well,
scared.
I mean, we're gonna move on to the Robin and the Oak Throne in the next episode, and we're gonna figure out where we're gonna pick up with Kyrus and Graves and Jen and Lorcan and Ethan and everybody, and Anne Boleyn the cat hopefully comes back.
Yeah, hopefully we get some freaking answers.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into it. At least we don't have to wait. Right? Like,
Yeah. No, for sure. The waiting allows too many distractions in between, and then I forget everything.
Same.
Okay, sisters.
Awesome.
Well, see you next time.
See ya next time. Like, subscribe,
Goodbye.
comment, suggestions, all the things. We love our 3 fellow listeners.
We have followers though. They just don't
We
always
do.
listen. But they
We
want to
get
see what's
about-
up.
We average 3 likes.
One of them's mine.
Mine too. So the
Oh.
third is
It's not mine.
It's our
I have-
secret viewer.
I have yet to watch a single
It's probably our
episode,
brother.
so-
I was about to say it's probably Jonathan. Love you,
Oh,
brother.
that's
I love you. I love you,
All
sisters.
right, love y'all. Good
Bye, guys.
night.
Bye. See you next time.